Let's get a full Marquette preview, and the seeding implications to this game are massive. You're locked on.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On UConn your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Before we dive into today's show, I want to take a moment to say how thankful we are for all of you. We appreciate all your support. We're proud to say we're the only daily podcast covering both the UConn men's and women's basketball programs, the hoops capital of the world. And we're thrilled to bring you the coverage you deserve. So to show that gratitude, we're giving back. We're donating 10% of our revenue to Husky Ticket Project, helping send kids to UConn games. A special shout out to all of my everydayers out there. Just like that, we are in the last week of the season. And let's bring up to the program a friend of the program. Hasn't been on in a while, and that's okay. My guy, Little Red. All right, man. What do you I'll go to the bottom of this list right now. You're going to be at the game tonight, obviously, as will I. What do you want to see from this team? Like just jumping out of the gates, like I want to see like Little Red's one or two keys from the start.
Thanks for having me on, Mark. It has been a while. What I would love to see is just really focused on the now, the here and the now. Big East tournament, it's March. I want to see a team that's just really dialed in, really hungry to sweep Marquette in the regular season. Obviously, we won there, and we were starting to feel like that was a game where it was a get-right game, like this team's going to continue to make all the right strides in all the right directions. That hasn't really been the case. It's been a lot of shooting yourself in the foot, if you will. Right. But from my perspective, from the fan perspective, I just want to continue to see that fire, continue to see those same rotations. Dan's really leaning on Terrace. I know we can argue about, if he deserves to start or not. Who cares? I just want us to win. And how we get there is really just focused on now and not next week. And like you said, this game has massive implications. I could throw out a bunch of stats, but who really cares? That's really all about the eye tests tomorrow. And for seeding implications, we really got to bring it.
Yeah, I agree. And what's so funny is you bring up the should Terrace start, should not Terrace start. Like I'm already past that. Like, people
right.
make a big deal about that initially. And I've done a couple shows where it's just my opinion that I think he should. And I don't think that there's a wrong or right reason. And guess who makes the ultimate decision? I don't know, the guy who's won back-to-back national championships. And I'm going to trust his judgment every single time over
Absolutely.
even my own. And
Absolutely.
And to put even a finer point on that, when you look back at the season, when they had that surprise win at Marquette where they were kind of scuffling a little bit, they had that 14-point comeback against DePaul. It was Samson Johnson in that game who gave them a huge lift and played, I believe, 27 minutes. He was 4 of 4 from the field. He had 13 points, 4 rebounds, a couple blocks. Samson's never a big rebounding guy, and Terrace Reed only played 13 minutes that game. So it really has been, with Dan the whole season, the hot hand, right? So I have total confidence that now that Terrace is kind of the guy who's like walking flame of just production, if that continues, then Dan's going to play him starter minutes, right?
Absolutely. And, we continue to also bring up this team is battle tested and the adversity that we have gone through. And Samson's facing a little bit of adversity now. Maybe some people are counting him out. You think these guys aren't looking for that extra edge this time of the season?
Right.
It's really time to put everything collectively together and build that momentum going in the tournament. We got 2 more games left. Control our own destiny as far as seeding. As Dave Borges put out in an article earlier this week, we've got to be that 3 seed. Really, if you're looking at the Big East standings right now, that 3 seed is looking pretty good at the bottom of the bracket. Gotta be masters of our own destiny here, and that 1 through however many deep we go on the bench, 1 through 9, 1 through 8, everybody's got to produce. Everybody's got to show something, and we really need Solo Ball. Solo Ball had a big game against Marquette last time. Continue to have faith in Alex. Alex, like you said, one of the best, if not the best, winner in UConn basketball history. Totally agree with that, and live by him, die by him. All the faith in the world. I'm I'm gonna bring it, dude. I'm gonna bring it tomorrow. I'm hyped.
I,
Or today,
I
excuse
have,
me.
yeah, no, I have no doubt that you're going to bring it. No doubt about it at all. We are filming this the night before, as you see Henry slug some wine back. So no, it's fine because I mean it's like context, right? It is
senseless plug. Not to cut you off. Educated guess. No idea what I'm talking about. No idea what I'm talking about. It's just an educated guess.
Great name for wine.
Educated.
Great name for anything.
Educated.
Really great name for anything, right? It's just an educated guess. All right, well, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're actually going to talk about the Big East seeding implications because I have it all laid out. And then I want to talk about some of these matchups because Marquette plays so similar to St. John's in the respect that they try to maul you. They really try to get after you. Not as big, not as physical, but very similar. So when we get back after the break. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades. Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast, from coast to coast. Need help with your order? Supply House offers expert support, industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like dedicated phone line, a free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Use the promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. All right, we're back on Locked On UConn with Little Red. What's up, my man? He's fired up already. All right, so before we get into any matchup-specific stuff, let's set the stage. UConn is hosting Marquette tonight at Gamble, 8:30. It's a whiteout game. They're looking to sweep the season series after a really dominant win. They won by 8 points, but it was a lot further than that. Marquette pushed them a little bit in the second half. Current standings, Marquette is 22-7. They're 13-5, tied for second with Creighton. And we are 20-9, 12-6, one game back in fourth place. So the path to a 2 or a 3 seed is UConn has to win out clearly against Marquette and Seton Hall, and Creighton needs to lose both remaining games against Seton Hall and Butler. Since this is being filmed the night before, a quick Google search will show you that Creighton is, I believe they're beating Seton Hall pretty good. It was 15 points before I even decided to come up here and do the pod. So I don't expect UConn to get to a 2, but the 3 seed is more in play, right? Because you're trying to avoid St. John's to the championship game. There is a school of thought, though, and I want to get your thoughts on this. If you played St. John's in the semis, does that give you a better chance because you're playing them on, less rest, turnover? I don't know. Like I saw that and I was just like, I could see that point, but I'm more inclined to try to beat them in a title game because if Seton Hall goes into this game, if St. John's goes into the finals against a UConn, and they've basically swept them in the regular season. And now there's all this pressure to not only win the Big East regular season, but now also to win in Madison Square Garden. I think the pressure solely lies on the Red Storm. Do you agree or disagree?
You know what? As you're saying this, I'm trying to process a few thoughts of my own. And I'm just really thinking, do you fear anybody in the Big East this year?
No.
St. John's has played really good basketball. And Rick Pitino, year 2, impressive, man. And Rick Pitino's year 2 numbers are insane. Everywhere he goes. I just don't fear them. We don't defend the 3 well. They don't shoot the 3 ball well. We've already seen them twice, seen them for a third time, right? That's the beauty of the Big East tournament. You're seeing teams for the third time. I really don't fear them. It's going to take maybe like a Jalen Stewart big minutes if it comes to that, which we didn't really get against St. John's in the Garden. Or, a lot more knockdown shots. Alex Karaban heated up late in the second half against St. John's. If he puts it together for, 38 minutes or 39 minutes, that he's probably going to play. It's a different UConn team, and we're just point blank a different team in March. You got to beat us in the Garden, and we play well at the Garden.
For sure.
It's Store South for a reason. We overuse that term a lot, but it's true. And this year, I really don't fear any Big East teams. Do I want a
No.
little bit of an easier path? Yes, but
Yeah. Also, I also want UConn to win some what I consider quality wins, like whether bracketologists believe that or not, and like it's not even anything against us. It's just about the analytics. Whether we beat a bubble team or we beat a contending team to get to the final eventually, then I just want UConn to have, if they win their last two, they'd be 22-9, and then they'd be 24-9 going into that Big East final, which would be, if you go into the NCAA tournament 25-9 or 24-10, God forbid you lose that game, a little different than if you're 23-10 or 20. You know what I mean? Like there's just more. You have another. Yeah, it matters because every win at this point matters, and it also the stacking of wins. The more wins we can get in a row, the more the confidence builds. Everything that goes with it. But like most things, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So let's talk about tonight. The key to this game: turnovers. They had 25 turnovers in the first matchup versus Marquette, but still won. I'm sure it drove you insane. It drove me insane. The crazy thing is I almost booked a trip to Wisconsin to go see that game and also cover it. And so I almost in the back of my head when I was watching it was frustrated and then also happy because it was such a great start by them. But I also would have been nail biting all the way to that victory because they kept turning the ball over and trying to kind of lose the game.
Yeah.
They've gotten more consistent point guard play, more consistent with wanting the ball and not giving it away. If Solo doesn't have a monster game, 25 points like he did last time, who else do you think? Yeah, who else do you think needs to step up so we don't lose that production?
Man, that's tough because we got a lot of guys that could do it. We really do. And it's always been, sometimes it's the guy you least expect. A couple. Jalen Ross has been getting a little bit more burned compared to what we've seen. Honestly, he gets a couple breakaway dunks, momentum shift. Jalen Stewart gets a couple stops, gets on the glass. Dan's been attacking him for not getting on the glass. If he gets on the glass, gets a couple big putbacks. And I mean, I'm just looking for those momentum shifters. I'm not really looking for a guy to light up the scoreboard. I'm looking for a guy 5 minutes, 4 minutes, and he makes the most of it. A couple of steals, takes a charge. It can't be just Haas taking charges.
Right.
It can't just be Haas. Samson Johnson, big charge. Somebody, a big block. I'm looking for those wow moments, those little red moments, man, where it just gets everybody fired up. It just gets everybody fired up. And also, it's a whiteout, man. Can I just point out real quick? I'm so tired of being told what to wear.
That's fair. That's kind of like a rap concert they're telling you to sing.
Like I was just looking forward to going to the game, man. Wear white. Some of them. Come on. I'll wear white, dude. I'll wear white. It's not the end of the world, but can I just show up to the game and go nuts?
I'm with you, man. And I know that I don't have to adhere to that because I go as a media credentials member, but I even got hazed from one of the students was like, hey man, think you could have wore a white shirt versus that because I wore that red Locked On UConn shirt last time I was at camp. I was like, it says UConn, dude. Like, relax. But at the same time, also, I mean, you know this, we're a couple of thicker dudes, man. Like, white makes you look bigger. I don't want to look like I'm a fat slob out there. I mean, personally, I wear more color shirts. It's what it is.
I've never been called thick by another man, but dude, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Making me blush, bro.
I'll
take that as a compliment.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would listen. What exactly?
Skinny my entire life. Now I'm thick. 2 C's, no tag.
You're not a string bean. Let's just put it that way, my brother. So yeah, that's a great point. I get it. I think a whiteout's great. But I don't know, man. Just be loud. Just be loud and aggressive.
Just be nuts.
And try to will this team to a victory. I hope whether it could be Terrace, could be Samson. I would love to see that center position dominate because they don't have a very similar profile. They're not as good. Providence is not as good as Marquette, not as skilled, but Providence has bigger dudes and Terrace dominated them then. And Marquette has nobody that could stop Terrace Reed. if we get the terrorist read that we saw against Providence, he doesn't have to give you 24 and 18. Just the mentality that he brought to that game, the mentality he brought in the Villanova game, then this game could get to that point where they're waving bye-bye to Marquette very early, because it's a slump buster. If you're not shooting the rock the way Solo did in that last game, that's where I expect some of the production to come from, personally.
How big would that be, just going into a Seton Hall game where we win big, we win by 10 points, not trying to get ahead of myself. I'm not expecting a blowout win, but if it were to happen, I mean, just ignite a fire to the fan base leading into Saturday and we'll send these guys off, just huge implications tomorrow. And I'm not really feeling that from the fan base. That's just my pulse.
You think so?
I don't live and die on Twitter. Maybe more so in the off season I die, but not as much live. There's nothing to talk about in the off season. But I'll feel it when I get on campus, and that's the great part about it. You even if you're in a car, you just drive up to campus, energy's thick.
Yeah, thick.
Educated guess.
Educated guess. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll finish up the pod. I want to hear what the game day rituals are for you tomorrow, and also if they're different from like when it's a late game like this, if things change.
Ooh,
curious. So we're going to talk about that coming up after the break. All right, we're back on Locked On UConn. Marquette preview, little seating implication show here with Little Red, and then we're going to get some of Little Red's kind of superstitious stuff before the game, but yeah, really just laying it out for everybody. UConn wins this game. It keeps them on a path where they could get that 3 seed. It looks like they're not going to be eligible for that 2 seed because Creighton, last time we checked, was beating Seton Hall by a lot. And when they're up, I think they're up 15 points. That's like a death sentence for Seton Hall. Considering the fact that they don't score a lot of points, they needed to keep that close. So that's that. Like, honestly, they just need to win out now and then potentially get that 3 seed to break the tie with Marquette. Is there any other? I think there was one more thing. No, I think that's it. Like, if you beat Marquette, path to a 3 seed, just win out, beat Marquette and Seton Hall, and they're the 3 seed. So
isn't it crazy when you get into March that this team wins and that team wins? I know we got to win that game, but we can't. Listen to this. I never keep track of it. Like, I need all these things to happen. It's like a parlay.
Right. Well, that's true. But listen to this. Listen to this, and then I want to get into your stuff. Something outside of our jurisdiction, if you will. I read this and I was like, wow, that's baffling, right? So if you look at Ken Palm right now, Duke has the best start in a Ken Palm era team. I don't think they're the best team ever, but just numbers wise.
Yep.
They literally could be considered the best team ever at Duke. But if they lose to Louisville, they'll be the 3rd seed in the ACC tournament. Isn't that wild? Like, think about
crazy.
That. That's insane. Yeah, because
also insane what Louisville's doing.
Right. So, like, if Louisville pulls off the upset of the year, beats Duke, then there's basically a 3-way tie, and they'd lose the tiebreaker with Clemson for whatever reason, and they'd be the 3 seed. That's insane to me.
Man. Wow. So, I had no idea. Yeah,
that's just wild. Anyway, but that's another random basketball fact with your boy Mark here. All right. So we know we both have done these. Nobody wants these day in the life situations. Yours are a lot more almost reverential, like, where you're bowing to jerseys and you're doing all this different stuff. What changes for a Little Red on a late game situation for the Marquette game?
It's so tough because work is just so much different for me this year. So my days are early on game days because I need to get the gym in. Haircut, I booked it right before I hopped on with you. Haircut's always a ritual. If it's not me personally doing it, I'll always shape myself up as best I can. I got a big head, so there's a lot of surface area that I need to cover. We're thick in all directions, especially above the head. Everywhere. But bowing to the jerseys has been a thing. Maybe we'll mix that up tomorrow. White Richard Hamilton 32. Gonna stay with that. Man, it's just, I don't know. My game day rituals, there's only like 4 or 5 things, and going to the gym obviously exceptionally early tomorrow it's a long start, especially with what? It's 8:30 tip. 8:30.
8:30 stuff.
Man, but you know what? The students are going to be lubed up, and I like that. It's just going to be a rough Thursday.
Yeah,
Long
I agree.
long week leading up to the Big East tournament. But my rituals are pretty like just 5 things, and it's nothing crazy. I mean, I'm watching like the Ray Allen game right now,
There
in
you
the
go.
background, trying to channel like some of the energy, trying to get
Some
fired
energy
up.
from the past. I love it.
Yeah, something to fire me up.
Let me ask you a question about this because I'm not superstitious. What's that word? I'm a little stitious. Like I think Eli Manning has said that, and I think it's
Superstitious,
funny.
nice.
But I would say like when something doesn't work, like you have a ritual and they're on like a big streak and you keep doing the same thing. Do you ever change things up like
Right.
drastically if the team
It,
is floundering?
it hasn't really. Nothing I've been doing seems to be really working this year. It's inconsistent at best. I did those things, my first time going to all those tournament games, when we won the first one there, and then like last year I just kept it going, and it just makes me feel comfortable. I'm very OCD. The military is always with like the tight
Sure.
haircut. That's where that comes from. Obviously, we have to shave every day, so I'm shaping myself up naturally. That's a military thing, really. Obviously, the beard, whatever, but tight haircut. Laying out the uniforms for the day. Everything I derives from the military experience. Really, I unintentional, but that's kind of where it comes from. It's like
Okay.
laying out your uniform the night before you're going to Catholic school. You know,
I've done that before.
you're wearing the same thing every day, but you're laying the uniform out, just to appease, my father, whatever the hell it is.
Sure.
But yeah, so the gym is just a big thing, just to get a pump in, get some aggression, get some rage, get red in the face, bright and early, and I'll make the most of it from a work standpoint. But my focus is Marquette and being red
Oh
in the
yeah.
face and being little red.
I love it. I've heard this morning on the radio. It's a trivia question, but it's a military one because you mentioned it, and it's
Okay.
about music. It's about music. So this is a 4-letter word. It's not like a swear word. It's a name of a band, and it's literally what were military guys called that followed every rule no matter what, even if it was to their detriment. And
The
there was a
4-letter word?
four-letter word. Yep.
Nope.
Tool.
I was trying to go something musical.
Yeah, the band Tool.
Just call him a hardo. Yeah, Tool. Yeah, Sober's a great song to play on your way to the game.
There you go.
Right? Because I'm going to be anything but sober at the game.
I'm laughing.
Dialing it back in.
Dialing it back in, baby. All right, listen. I really appreciate you. This will be out tomorrow morning for everyone to get fired up over. If you have one thing that you want to convey to people, not just students are going to be lubed up and ready to go, to anybody coming into the building, not me because I have to be quiet as a field mouse. Not really. I can walk around tomorrow. We'll figure it out. How would you? What do you want to hear from the people?
We're all on the same team, right? You might have beef online. You might not like your podcast. You might not like
Yeah.
getting ready. You might not like the fact that I'm wearing a little red shirt. Who cares? When you step inside those doors, if you see me, slap me in the face, man. Get me fired up. We're all in this together. I mean, if you're watching this and you're the type that likes to sit down and you're yelling at the guy in front of you to sit down, join him. I promise you the game day
Stand up.
experience is better if you just get up. I want us to get up. I want us to have that Final Four energy. We really, really need this one. People are booking their trips to New York. They're calling out of work. They're getting the days lined up if you're taking PTO. You're getting the sick excuses out there, playing it the long play, maybe like a couple coughs. Next week you got the flu. Um, Things like that. We stay locked in and locked on. You like that?
Ooh.
Stay locked on, Marquette, and just when you come in those doors, be ready to go, and do it for guys like Vince Lombardi, who's going through a tough time with lung cancer. Do it for him. Do it for the guys that wish they were there. And he's going through a really tough time. Shout out to Vince. His name is fucking Vince Lombardi, and he's a Packers fan.
Yeah. It doesn't get better than that.
He had the foam hat, pour the beer in it,
Vinny, this one's for you, baby.
This one's for him, man. How about that? This one's for him.
That's a great call out. Vinny, we wish you were there, and I hope that, I reached out to him and I said, if there's anything I can do for you, you let me know. And he all he said was, man, just pray for me, and we're gonna see what happens. And so we definitely are doing that, and we're gonna be, you're with us in spirit, and let's try to hopefully get this team a W and get that sweep of Marquette, and
let's go
ride this wave.
Let's go, man.
Let's go, baby. All right. Well, I'm fired up, and that's all we have for you. I will see you guys at the arena. If you come see me and you want I have some Locked On UConn shirts for people tomorrow, so I'm gonna give some to the students. I'll definitely give one to you, my friend, and others. Hopefully I have enough like sizes for everybody, because I got a myriad of stuff. So we'll see what happens. But if it's too tight for you, just bring it home and put it on the wall somewhere or whatever, or give it to your girlfriend or your friend or whatever. So we'll talk soon. And this has been another episode of Locked On UConn. Stay locked on, stay connected, and make sure those toughness meters are really ratcheted up tomorrow. As always, go Huskies.
Go Huskies.